Welcome to Rising from the Rubble, the podcast where we share real life stories of people who have faced life-changing events like burnout, redundancy, depression, and found a way to rise stronger than before. I'm your host, Maria Newman, and as a coach, I help individuals navigate life's toughest transitions. Whilst listening to this podcast, you'll hear inspiring stories and coaching insights that will empower you to reclaim your confidence, redefine your future, and rise from your own rubble. It's now time to sit back, relax, and enjoy listening to our episode. Hello, Karen. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, what makes your story meaningful to others?
If you've ever self-sabotaged, you definitely need to listen in.
And who will benefit the most from hearing your story?
A woman who knows that life isn't working out as it should do or could do.
And what's the most important takeaway from your experience?
You're never alone.
So, Karen, tell us who you are and how you rose from your rubble of a nervous breakdown.
Well, I'm Karen Bashford. I'm a soul growth therapist and also the creator of the Sloth or Beaver Coaching Toolkit and Hub. How did I rise from my breakdown? Basically, let's go back to my childhood when my parents, through no fault of their own, was unable to tell me that they loved me or gave me hugs. That was the start of my life believing that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't lovable. Every action that I chose to take, everything that happened to me can be traced back to that not being loved feeling. And even the relationships I chose to become involved in was unfortunately the kind of love that caused more pain than actually helped. And I recognized that because I was looking for love, I was looking for love that caused me pain because I didn't know what love was. Despite the fact I used to say to my friends, I love you, and despite the fact that I would frequently give them hugs, but that's something I was seeking, but didn't realise I was. My husband, unfortunately, was somewhat emotionally abusive. And after I got divorced, the partner I chose was a Jekyll and Hyde character. So, surface level, absolutely gorgeous, really loving, really caring, but put a drink inside him, give him some drugs, and he would turn totally into a violent person. And it taught me a lot when I finally got out of the relationship, which happened because I moved away from the area I was living. I could get away from him. He would turn up on the doorstep. Despite our relationship being finished, he would turn up on the doorstep. That kept generating more problems for me, in that I still hadn't learned to love myself enough to actually change my life. I've done all the things that most people do to get involved in personal development. I read the books, I did the courses, I did the affirmation, you name it, I did it. But it didn't really make any difference. I would change something, but within a few weeks, I'd be back to how I was. It wasn't until I reached that point where my body went, not doing this anymore. I came back from a walk walked through the door feeling really wobbly, as if I couldn't stand up, and went to bed. And for 5 days, I stayed in bed, only getting up to feed the cat because I had to. She had to be fed, and she let me know she wanted food, and to get a drink, literally just to get some water and go back to bed. And that was for 5 days. My body just stopped functioning. It was almost as if it had gone, can't do this. I'm not doing this. I'm going to make you just stop. And I slept most of that time. When I started to recover from that, I couldn't do very much. I spent most time on YouTube watching videos. So it was the best form of recovery, but it was better than just doing nothing. Having got through that, I thought, hey, yeah, I'm ready. I can get going now. No, I decided, or rather, my mind and body decided that I had to have a nervous breakdown. It happened simply by a situation where my mother, who unfortunately had started to develop Alzheimer's, and I had been, how do we put it? I had been her emotional support for years. And one day I just got this phone call that she just laid into me complaining that I hadn't answered the call when I'd been on another call. So I couldn't really answer it. And she just laid into me, and it was like, my mind went, can't do this. I'm running out of steam. So having done the physical, I then went into the emotional, mental breakdown. And I spent probably 3 months crying. It was quite insightful. And from that, I discovered just how much I had contributed to my own illness, to my own breakdown, how much my family had contributed to the fact that I didn't believe in myself, I didn't love myself, and consequently, that breakdown was actually my breakthrough.
So, did you know, whilst you were going through or going up to, first of all, your physical breakdown before you then went to your nervous breakdown, did you know that something was happening and your body was trying to tell you to stop? Or were you just continuing in life, living as if this is life?
I was continuing to live as if this was life. I still went to see my mum. I still phoned her every day. I was still working. But yes, there were warning signs in the sense that things were slowing down. I didn't seem to have as much energy, but it wasn't shock to literally walk through that door and realize I had no energy at all. My legs were literally collapsing under me. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock.
So, having gone through those 5 days of physically having to slow down and listen to your body, did you think, I now need to do something that's more than physical? Or did you think, well, okay, then I feel fine now. That's all right. I can just continue in life.
Yeah, I did exactly that, like we all do. Yeah, I'm fine. I've got over it. I can just get on with it. And that's what I did. All right. Again, I was slower because I was still recovering. I was perhaps a bit more picky about what I was eating. It was almost like my body was going, you can't keep doing what you were doing. You've got to change your choice of food. So it was looking for more healthier food, perhaps, because like a lot of women, when you're busy, you snack. My body was going, you're not doing that. I want proper time to have proper food. So I was starting to eat better. I was giving myself time to eat properly with mindfulness rather than just stuffing it in and getting on to the next thing. But apart from that, it was almost like, yeah, you've done it. You've got over it. You've had this, whatever it was. Now we can just get on with life again. And that's exactly what I did. Get on with life again.
So again, as you go from your physical breakdown to your nervous breakdown, there are no clues as to something's going to happen. Again, was it literally the phone call from your mum that just triggered the rest of it?
Absolutely. It was almost like I've run out of steam. I can't keep giving. I've got to stop giving. And that in itself was like, oh, okay, where did that come from? But it was when I sat down after the call had finished, because I was quite irate at that point, which was unusual for me. I was usually quite calm with my mum, and I would deal with the many issues that she created. But it was like, why are you blaming me? It was that kind of reaction. Why are you blaming me? I was on a call. I can't be on call 24/7. I have to work. I have to be doing things for myself. And there was this real irritation. Actually, I would say it was pure anger. And in that anger, I finally acknowledged that I didn't want to give anymore. There was something in me going, well, why do you keep giving? You're not getting anything back. Now, I also understood that her Alzheimer's was part of the cause, but that didn't stop the feeling that having given so much over so many years, that I was still being criticized for not being there in that moment. And
So
that was the
actually,
first warning.
it had been, without you realizing it, it was just a building of stuff being put on top of you until it just so happened to be that call was what triggered everything to come tumbling down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've had this heavy conversation with your mum. What made you then rise from a nervous breakdown? Because you could have said, I've just had a physical breakdown. Now I've got a nervous breakdown. I just can't be bothered.
There was something within me that was almost like, okay, so now you've given up on everyone else. What are you going to do for yourself? And that's when it really started to open up for me, in the sense that, okay, I've given, given, and given. What do I actually want? And that's when I started questioning. I still had my cat. I was still looking after her, and she was brilliant because she gave me that love that I was looking for. It was almost as if, well, finally you're going to give me time. Although I gave her time, it was like, I'm here for you now, instead of me just, yeah, okay, I was feeding her, I was looking after her, she was my pet, so I loved her and all the rest of it. But there was this element of, finally you're listening and you're seeking the love that you haven't had. And she spent so much time with me. She would lay with me, or she would sit with me, and she'd come and touch me constantly to make sure that I was all right. She was brilliant. If I was in the middle of a tearful session, she would come and cry at me and then touch me, as if to say, you're not on your own. And that started to make me question, well, what do I really want? Because she is demonstrating something to me that I've not had. I've not had somebody come and say to me, are you okay? But she was. And it was started a snowball kind of impact in the sense of, okay, so she's showing me love. So what does love really mean to me? What do I want from that love that I'm receiving? Even if it's from a cat, what do I want from that love? How do I want to feel? And it opened so many doors in the sense of there was questions. How do I want my life to be? Where do I even want to be? Because I'm living in a place that I didn't particularly want to be in. Circumstances caused me to be here. So do I really want to continue? What do I really want from my life going forward? And that just kept snowballing.
It sounds like she was making you live more intentionally rather than just getting swept along by
Mm,
life.
mm, yeah, yeah.
So, what was the one thing that challenged you the most having gone through that experience?
Turning around to my brother and sister on a phone call after I'd come, well, towards the end of the nervous breakdown, I wasn't fully out of it because I was still quite tearful. But being able to say to them, just leave me alone. I hadn't told them I was going through the nervous breakdown because I got no support from them ever. And it was like, for the first time, I could say, just go away. I would get phone calls from my brother telling me that I was doing everything wrong for my mum, despite the fact that I was the one in constant contact with her. I was the one going to see her and then taking her out. But I was always the one doing the wrong thing for her. Excuse me, I'm seeing her, I'm speaking to her, and you're telling me I'm not doing the right thing for her. So that was a beautiful feeling of actually being able to say, just leave me alone. I will continue looking after mum, but I don't need your sarcastic input.
It sounds like you found your voice.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So there will be people listening to this who have either gone through it or going through it and finding strength from what you're saying. What advice would you give those individuals who are at the point where they're thinking, it's just not in me. I haven't got the energy. I feel weak. I am where I am and I've accepted it.
Just continue accepting it and just be with it. I found that if I tried to analyze or tried to do too much, my body would kick back and go, no, 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 we're going to stop again. And I'd have a day where I would do absolutely nothing. But that was okay because that's what my body needed to recover. We have to remember that our bodies actually indicate to us in so many ways what it needs. And even though we say we need to do the mindset shifts, we need to do the body shifts far more, because without doing the body shift, we just go back into this natural, I know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to keep doing it. But the breakdown and then the breakthrough taught me that when I listened to what my body was wanting, I felt better. There was no, I had to do, I should do, or beating myself up because I wasn't doing something. I had no capability of doing that thing, whatever it was, because my body went, forget that. I'm not doing it. It doesn't matter how much you try. I am not going to do it. Even to the point of going to shop. Some days I just couldn't get into my car to go shopping because my body was going, I know you say you want stuff, but you don't. You just need to rest. But I want to go out. No, no, no. You just need to rest. Okay. And I physically got to that point where I couldn't even open the door to walk out to go to the car. That's how much my body was going, no, listen to me. And that's the best thing I can tell anyone is listen to your body. It will tell you. It will tell you what tablets you need, what vitamins, what minerals you need, what food you need. I craved oranges, and I'm not an orange person. Oranges and grapefruits, vitamin C, massive doses of vitamin C. I was taking through fruit that I wouldn't normally eat because that's what my body needed. As soon as it decided it had enough, I would stop eating them. That's how good your body is communicating with you. You'll crave something. I'm a vegetarian, or a pescatarian actually, but every now and then I'll go balmy over bacon. Bacon and pear. Because the combination of something in the bacon with a pear gives me, my body, a mineral, an enzyme, or a vitamin, or a combination that I can't get anywhere else. But I will crave bacon. And yet, as soon as I've got those replacements, I won't want bacon again for months, even years. That's how good our body is at communicating.
Do you know what that reminds me of when I was pregnant? Because when I was pregnant, I sort of had the opposite. I was looking forward to the mad cravings. And instead of the mad cravings, my body was like, well, you've got everything you need because I went off meat. I went off a lot of things actually. Meat, orange juice were the two main things. So I was living as a vegetarian, which I've never been a vegetarian. And the only thing I could actually drink was water. The thought of anything else literally like repulsed me. I'm sitting here now, I cannot explain the feeling. I just know I had it. And then as soon as, and this was both my children, and literally as soon as I had my children, as soon as they'd popped out, that makes it sound so simple. It was all back to how it was before I was pregnant. So it's that trust, isn't it? That trust that your body is communicating with you. It does know what you want. You just have to trust it and listen.
Yeah, and that's the best thing. Regardless of what stage you're in your breakdown or your physical breakdown, listen to your body. It collapses for a reason. It recovers through certain things. And it's not just about rest, it's what you put into your body. It's how you look at your world even. You can continue going through a nervous breakdown and actually start to feel better, even though you're still in that breakdown, because suddenly you're seeing things in a different way. You've still got the same problems, but you're seeing it in a different way. That is part of the process of recovery from any kinds of breakdown. But you're capable of that if you're willing to listen to what you're being given through your own body and mind.
Mm. So I know that we are the people we are today because of what we've gone through. However, what one thing do you wish you'd known before the event?
What would I wish to learn? That I am important. I never gave myself the title of being important. I made everyone else important and not myself.
And I know you said that you can trace this back to not having the love that you deserved. Do you think there was anything that you might have been avoiding by putting everybody else's importance above yourself?
I was avoiding the fact that as a child, I felt I had to look after everyone else. Because that's what children do sometimes. They have this one, because I was psychic, I could pick up things that perhaps a normal, I say normal, because every child is psychic, but how connected you are to your psychic abilities is something else. But for me, it was like I was constantly picking up on those little signals that indicated there was issues within the family. And it wasn't necessarily from my parents, it was from my grandparents. But that kept coming through my parents. And as a child, I would pick up on those energies. I would often spend so much time alone because I didn't want to be part of that energy, but I didn't realize it at the time. It was only through the breakdown that I began to recognize how my behavior was reflecting what I didn't want to be involved in.
So, how has your experience changed your perspective on life?
I'm considerably happier. I am constantly curious. I tend to have fun a lot more. I'm also very much conscious of how my body behaves. So when it's not happy with me, I know it. And it's interesting listening to the guidance I receive from my body. It's like I do something, say for my health reasons, I've had a really bad back, which again, I know is to do with emotional issues. And it's like I've had to go through certain stages, reach a point of getting the back treated as such. So I've been for a Thai massage every week for the last nearly 3 years. But now it's like, oh, we got to this point now. So let's go to an acupuncturist. And she's been dealing with the emotional aspects. Instead of the physical, she's been dealing with the emotional. She then introduced me to an osteopath who's been dealing with the deep level issues of actually manipulating my muscles and my tendons to get them to work better. Now, the Thai massage was doing that, but it wasn't, I couldn't go to the osteopath until she'd done a certain amount of work. And then I had to deal with the emotional before I could then go to the next stage of the physical. Now it's a case of, okay, so we're going to do more deeper emotional healing, which goes beyond the acupuncturist. So this last week, I had an actual kinesiologist work with me to go to the more deeper emotional level, which the acupuncturist had dealt with in the sense of she was dealing with all the grief that I hadn't released. But now it's the physical bodily emotions that she's been working on, the kinesiologist has been working on. So she's actually released my shoulder that was literally blocked, emotionally blocked. So I couldn't lift it up at all. But with one session of releasing the stuck emotion, and that was an affirmation that I had to tap in, and that I was important. I didn't have to listen to other people.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Our bodies hold on to emotion.
Yeah.
It's not, okay, then you might be kicked, you might be punched. And also you might be holding on to emotions that need to get released.
Yeah, but it was phenomenal, just literally tapping for probably about 3 minutes max. And I could lift my arm up totally. And that's just pure emotion that I could be as important. Even though I knew I was important, my body hadn't released that energy that I could be important. It was still holding on to, I have to listen to everyone else still. And that was coming out in my shoulder. And yet I wasn't listening to anyone else. I was listening to myself, but my shoulder was going, no, you're not.
So, Karen, we are coming to the end of our recording together. Before we go, though, there are 2 questions I need to ask you. The first one is, what 3 things do you want people to take away from this conversation?
First, most important one is listen to yourself. Second one is you are never, ever alone. Even though I went through the nervous breakdown with my cat, there was also a feeling of being loved that wasn't a physical presence. We're never, ever alone. The third one is you matter. Regardless of whatever's going on in your life, you matter. And you need to acknowledge that.
And that is a lovely place to end. So, Karen, there will be people watching and listening saying, Karen, she is amazing. I need to be in her world. Make it easy for them. Tell us how we connect with you.
Well, you can always connect through LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So you can connect with me that way. I have my own website, karenbashford.com. So there's insights, there's questions, there's blogs and things like that on there. And obviously there's the Sloth or Beaver toolkit which I've created with all the questions I asked myself that now you can ask yourself.
And on that note, I'd like to say thank you, Karen, for being so open and honest with us and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me, and I do appreciate the opportunity to share, because I would have loved to have known what I know now to listen to somebody else's story.
Oh, you're most welcome. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Thank you for listening to Rising from the Rubble. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Also, remember to download your free life assessment. Just click the link in the description to get started. Take care, and remember, every setback is an opportunity for growth. I'll see you next time.